It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Blake Williams, filling in for our guy Anthony Witrato, because Anthony is booked with me for basically every night for the next week, as long as it goes. Here to talk a little bit about Game 2 that happened yesterday, a bit about Games 3 and 4 coming up. Blake, we have not gotten a chance to speak since the Dodgers evened this series and went ahead and won game number 2. So how are you feeling 48 hours after the game 1 loss?
A little more confidence. I still want to see more from the offense moving forward, but I mean, they're in a good spot heading back to LA now. They take two at home and then win 1 on the road. They're champions, which is kind of the expectations I had for them going into the series. So yeah, it's an okay spot for them to be in.
I love it. Well, we're going to talk Glasnow, Max Scherzer, which is on the docket for tomorrow night. We're going to talk Andy Pages, the Dodgers offense that you referenced, the bullpen, as well as a little bit about Game 4, Ohtani and Bieber. But before we do any of that, I just want to spend a little more time talking about exactly what Yoshinobu Yamamoto did last night, Blake. We've all seen the stats. We know it's, 2 complete games in a row. That's the first player in 24 years since Curt Schilling to do that. Keep in mind, by the way, in 2001, when Schilling did it, complete games happened 7 times more often than they do in 2025. It was the first World Series complete game since 2015, the first Dodgers World Series complete game since 88 when Hershiser did it. Mookie Betts said, quote, "I've been playing a long time. I haven't ever seen anything like this," about Yamamoto last night. I could keep going. Since his first postseason start, Blake, 44 and a third innings, a 1.62 ERA. He threw 82 pitches in the final 8 innings, retired 20 in a row. That was a franchise record. He's also the 4th pitcher in the last 100 years with back-to-back complete game wins on the road in a postseason, and the first since 1979. Do any of those stats or quotes seem to sum up just how good Yamamoto was last night?
I mean, I think you need to put them all together to have the complete picture of how good he was. But yeah, I think Yamamoto is the best pitcher on this staff. That doesn't mean he has the best stuff or anything like that. I think Shohei, Snell, and Glasnow will have a case for the best stuff, but Yamamoto just the best pure pitcher. And I say that, and like how we talk about how Freddie Freeman and Corey Seager were pure hitters, not necessarily like the most talented guys like Ohtani is, but I mean, he just knows how to pitch. He has elite command, probably the best in baseball. He has the experience in big games, and he's stepping up when they need him the most. And it's impressive. Even in that first inning when he ran into some trouble there, he was able to get out of it without allowing a run. And I think that kind of helped the Dodgers moving forward, because after the first game, if you ended up playing from behind early on in the second game there, like that's difficult for the team mentally. So it was huge for them, his outing. He's amazing. This is why they paid him $325 million, and he's probably underpaid at this point. Some players such as Josh Reddick didn't agree with that contract, but we love to dunk on that take now. And Yamamoto is one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's a pure ace. He shows it every time out.
Yeah, and the thing about Yamamoto, too, is we know how bad the Dodgers bullpen is, and so there was basically a 0% chance that Dave Roberts was going to go get him. They did not have anybody warming up until the 9th inning when Roki started to throw, and yet he didn't even give Dave a chance had the bullpen been a group that he could trust, because you kind of look for, are there going to be any cracks in the armor late in the game? Does he put a runner on? Then what happens? He just went ahead and struck out the side in the 8th inning, and as I said, retired the last 20 guys that he faced. But I think it's a great point by you when we're talking about pitching, the ability to throw 6 different pitches where he wants them, to mix speeds, to mix location, to be able to be pinpoint, it seems like, at any point. Like he feels like he can throw that fastball on the outside corner just about anytime he wants it. The curveball typically a swing and miss pitch, a chase pitch, I should say, for a lot of pitchers. He's landing it for strikes consistently. And then you've got the splitter, which it's like, oh yeah, by the way, all of these pitches are like plus to plus plus as well. And so I don't know if we're going to see him again. Obviously, the Dodgers are hoping that there's a world where they win the World Series and Yamamoto doesn't have to pitch again, Blake. But historically, I just still don't have a full ability to put in perspective how important the NLCS complete game and the World Series complete game are for this team and this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I think looking back, it'll become a little more clear, but we know with how bad the bullpen is and how quickly things can get out of hand for them. Like Yamamoto doing that, it's just been a huge boost for them, especially after the NLCS when Blake Snell threw 8 innings. Like that just demoralized the Brewers with those 2 back-to-back games. And then coming out to kind of pick them up in the World Series after they were blown out and played terribly in game 1. They needed to win that game too. It was about as close to a must-win as you could have without it actually being a must-win. So for him to step up in that moment was really special. And like, this is why they paid him. This is what they envisioned from him. And to be honest, they probably didn't even envision as much from him. Like, this is incredible. So yeah, we can talk about him all night. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And I think there were some narratives going into the playoffs that like Yamamoto wasn't a true ace among some fans, which just insane. And Yamamoto's out here proving that he's among the probably 5 best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, and it's easy to forget that like opponents had the lowest OPS against him than against any pitcher in Major League Baseball. I believe he had the 2nd best ERA in the National League behind only Paul Skeens. And so he's going to be a Cy Young finalist. He's going to be a top 3 finisher almost assuredly. And obviously the postseason does not factor into that, but if it did factor into it, you could make a case he might be the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, the way that things have gone for him over the last couple of weeks. And again, it's worth pointing out, both of these were on the road, Blake. Like, these were going into environments and silencing an opposing crowd. You made the point after the game 1 loss in Toronto, when it feels like, I hesitate to say that was a must win, but it was a really, really important game, as all World Series games are. And yet he just keeps coming up and doing it for the Dodgers. And so kudos to Yoshinobu Yamamoto again for being brilliant last night. Shout out to everybody joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. As always, the chat is open. We are going to be answering some super chats on the first half of the show and getting to some other questions on the back half of the show. We've got a super chat from Christopher. Said the offense has to step up. Glasnow not likely to pitch as well as last 2 games. The shadows were a big factor the last 2 starts, and the Blue Jays offense is better than Milwaukee. We have another one from Aaron that dovetails, so I'm going to throw it up as well. He says the offense has an opportunity. Games 3 and 4 might be the worst starters we've faced since Cincinnati. They have a shot to put the pressure on Toronto. And the reason I group these is because it's talking about the offense, which we're going to get to, but it also talks about the pitching matchups in game number 3 and game number 4. And so Christopher says Glasnow benefited from the shadows his last 2 starts. This is the best offense that he will have faced so far. So Blake, when you look at the preview of this game, Glasnow for the Dodgers, Scherzer for the Blue Jays, how are you feeling about Glasnow's chances to replicate what has been a really impressive start to the postseason so far?
I mean, if he goes out there and throws strikes and keeps doing what he does best, throwing his curveball and a slider, getting those working together and building off the fastball, like, he's going to have another really good game. I don't know where the whole narrative about the Glasnow isn't going to have a good game or he's a concerning pitcher type thing has been coming from, because he's been very, very good. He has the 2nd highest K per 9 of all time among starters with 500 innings pitched. He's limited runs well throughout his career. Like, he's a very, very good pitcher. And yes, he's facing a very good offense, but Glasnow hasn't shown me anything recently to be concerned about him for this game. Like, yes, the Blue Jays might beat him because they're a very good team as well and their offense is great, but I don't think it's going to be like a Glasnow issue where he's just totally off or anything. I have confidence in Glasnow. I think the Dodgers have confidence in him, which is why they're pitching him in game 3 and line him up for game 7. So yeah, he just has to go do his thing and throw strikes and try and get quick outs, not let pitch counts build up on him, not have any innings where things kind of fall apart on him, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, but Blake, I don't know if you knew this. Somebody sent me this on Twitter. In 2018 and 2019, when Glasnow was with the Rays and played against a Blue Jays team that had none of the same players, he didn't have a very good ERA in those games. So I'm just curious if that changes your perspective, because the Blue Jays as an organization have fared well against him, even if the guys on this current roster haven't.
I put no stock into that. I know you don't either. No one should put any stock into that. It's just a piece of cloth they're wearing. Like, it doesn't matter at all for going back in the past. And also for Glasnow specifically, he's a completely different pitcher. He's changed a lot since then. He's mixed up his pitch mix, and he's been building off it in different ways. So yeah, I mean, I don't put any stock into that. He's a completely changed guy.
Yeah. As far as one thing I do put stock in is like, how have the guys on this Blue Jays roster done against Glasnow? And I think you make a great point. Some of these numbers, when we talk about guys like Vladimir Guerrero, Bo Bichette, these could have been from 3 or 4 years ago. That's not the same version of Tyler Glasnow. These are all very small sample sizes, but it is worth pointing out there's some good and some bad if you're a Blue Jays fan when it comes to matchups against Glasnow. Guerrero has 14 at-bats in his career against Glasnow. He's 5 for 14 with a home run, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. So those are good numbers for Guerrero. Bichette is 2 for 14. George Springer is 3 for 6. However, Kirk, Varsho, Lucas, Barger, and Clement have combined to go 0 for 19 against Glasnow in their careers. These are incredibly small sample sizes. I wouldn't say no stock in it, because if Vladimir Guerrero, we've seen guys that just see certain pitchers really, really well. But the fact that Vlad is 5 for 14 with a homer, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts in his career, does that mean anything to you, Blake?
Probably not. I think most of those, I'm trying to remember when Vlad debuted, but I'm pretty sure most of those came back in like the early stages of Glasnow's career, probably when he was with the Rays there.
Yeah, Vlad debuted in 2019.
So Glasnow didn't even start throwing his slider until 2021. So prior to that point, he was a fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher. Now he's a fastball, slider, curveball, sinker pitcher. He dropped the changeup. He's added the slider. So he's a completely different pitcher. I just don't put any stock into that stuff.
Yeah. As far as Glasnow, by the way, to your point earlier about like, why are people concerned? He has a 0.68 ERA and 13.1 innings so far in the postseason. If you go back to September 1st, his last 35 innings, he has a 1.8 ERA, 43 strikeouts compared to just 19 hits allowed. That's Tyler Glasnow. That's 7 appearances. Of those 7, 6 have featured 1 earned run or fewer for Tyler Glasnow. Did face the Blue Jays earlier this season, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts back in August. So has had 1 game of experience. Again, is that like the Blue Jays are going to remember what it looks like to see Tyler Glasnow from 2 months ago? Unlikely. Some other numbers, again, we're familiar with Glasnow, but interesting as it relates to a matchup with the Blue Jays. Glasnow, surprising to me at least, Blake, is like the worst in the league at getting guys to chase outside of the zone. He has a 1% chase rate. First percentile, I should say, not 1%. He's last in chase rate, 7th percentile in walk rate. Obviously, those two things are related. But he is 73rd percentile in whiff rate, which is strength versus strength. Glasnow gets swing and miss. The Blue Jays are the best in baseball at not swinging and missing. So if you had to pick that matchup particular, Glasnow, does he get the swing and miss against a team that doesn't like to swing and miss?
Yes, to a degree. It's not going to be like the numbers he was putting up before against the Brewers or anything like that, but he'll get more. It's going to be like probably better than we saw from Snell, maybe similar to Yamamoto, if not a little better, just because he has better stuff. But Glasnow's a guy with just overpowering stuff that when he lives in the zone, he's really tough to hit. So, I mean, yeah, maybe he'll get more weak contact and stuff like that just because his stuff is overpowering. The Blue Jays don't get swing and miss a lot. So, yeah, I mean, it could go either way. But really, I think if the Blue Jays have a good game, it's not going to be because Tyler Glasnow is bad or anything like that. We've seen the Blue Jays just erupt from time to time in the postseason, even against good pitching. So I don't have any worries about it. Like, Glasnow is really, really good.
On the other side, it's Max Scherzer. Dodgers, as far as their experience against him, Freddie, Muncy, Edman, and Mookie all have homers off of Scherzer. Freddie's taken him deep 3 times. Ohtani 2 for 6. And then on the flip side, Kike 0 for 6, Teo 1 for 7, Smith 0 for 3 in their career. 1 postseason appearance so far for Scherzer, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, had a 10.2 ERA in the month of September. Dating back to August 25th, 7 starts, had 4 or more earned runs allowed in 5 of those 7, had a 5.19 ERA on the year and a 1.29 whip. Like Glasnow did face the opponent 1 time, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts in August against the Dodgers. As far as some key stats on Scherzer, he's one of the worst in the league at ground ball rate, 2nd percentile when it comes to that stat, does limit hard contact, doesn't walk guys a ton, but is not a huge whiff threat or chase inducer. When I see a guy who can't get a ton of ground balls, that excites me, Blake, because the Dodgers are a team that are going to try and lift the ball. They're going to try and get the ball in the air and take it over the fence. And a guy who doesn't get ground balls, do you think I'm right to be excited about that matchup particularly?
Yes, the Dodgers haven't had much slug throughout the postseason. They've been kind of more of a small ball team, funny enough. So I hope it helps them get their offense back on track and start hitting homers, because teams that out-homer their opponents in the postseason win a crazy amount of games. It's like 70 or 80% or something. So, like, the Dodgers need to start slugging more. They have a lot of guys in their lineup who just haven't been doing it. Outside of Shohei Ohtani's 1 game, it's been pretty quiet all around from him. Mookie hasn't slugged much. Freddie hasn't slugged. It's just kind of up and down the lineup. There hasn't been much of it. So they need to figure that out. It's important for them, for this offense. It's the most efficient way of scoring runs. I know a lot of people are like, don't swing for the fences and all that, but they kind of need to at some points. They need to hit more homers. And yeah, hopefully they can get it started for Scherzer.
If I gave you 11.5 outs as the over-under for Scherzer tomorrow, that would be 3 2/3. Basically, does he finish a full 4? Would you take the over or the under?
I'd probably take the over, mainly because the Dodgers offense hasn't had like those put away hits to get a starting pitcher out of the game yet. They've been scraping 1 or 2 runs across an inning when they get to the pitcher, and they just haven't had that knockout punch yet. So I need to see it first.
Okay, well, let's talk Dodgers offense, because that was next on my list, which was level of concern. I know you were highly concerned after game 1. They put 5 runs on the board in game 2. Obviously, the story of game 2 is that Yamamoto dominates. But to your point, Will Smith hits a home run, Max Muncy hits a home run, and that ends up being the difference in this game. So how would you rate your overall level of concern, with 10 being not concerned, 10 being hyper concerned and 1 being not concerned at all?
Probably still at about a 6. And the reason for that is, even though they scored 5 runs, it was nice to see the homers, first of all. So that helped. I probably would have been a little higher if they didn't have those. But they were just missing so many fastballs over the middle of the plate, fouling them off, not making good contact. That was concerning to me. I get you want to protect against the splitter and everything low, and the umpire was calling low fastballs, but the ones over the middle of the plate that were just meatballs, essentially, that they were missing, it was probably like 14 of them in the game. Like, that's a concerning sign for the offense. Not even making hard contact on them, just completely missing them. They still left a lot of runners on base. It was just, for me, it was kind of the same things we've been seeing throughout their struggles. So it was nice to see them score 5, but I still need to see more from them. Like, I need to see them have a big inning or hit a few homers in a game that just completely put it out of reach. And I just haven't seen that yet. So I have some concern. Hopefully facing Scherzer helps them get back on track a bit more, but it's a lot of the same issues we've talked about all year for them. So that's where my level of concern is still high.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for optimism beyond just 5 runs scored, 2 home runs, which were improvements, the whiff rate was much better in game 2. It was 38% in game 1. It was down to 23.5% in game 2. They had 7 hard hit balls in game 1. That number was up to 11. The issue, like you said, was that there were mistakes that they just didn't capitalize on. Freddie got a hold of a couple, and just they died at the warning track in center field. And so it feels like, Blake, if it's a baby step in the right direction, right? That's the good news, is it was a baby step in the right direction. They were swinging and missing less. They were hitting the ball harder and more consistently. They get 2 balls over the fence. The question is, facing a lesser pitcher in Max Scherzer, returning home to Dodger Stadium. Is that going to be enough for this offense to improve? Like, do you think we see a game in game 3, particularly, where the Dodgers can get to like 7+ runs scored in this one?
I mean, I hope so. They should. The talent-wise versus the pitching matchup, it should be. I don't know. Like, my optimistic take would be they get to 6 this time or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, they need Teo to start hitting. He's had some terrible at-bats.
Yeah.
Mookie just hasn't had any slug. Freddie has not had any slug. Shohei has just not really been hitting at all. Will Smith has been good. Muncy's been kind of hit or miss here and there. Andy Pages has been a complete black hole. Tommy Edman has been fine, getting like some blue pits here and there, but still not a ton of slugs. So it's just up and down the lineup. It feels like they've all kind of reverted to singles hitters outside of a homer here or there. And I'm just not confident that's going to win you many games, especially not against a team like the Blue Jays. So I just need to see something from them.
Yeah. And again, we've gone back and forth on like, if the Dodgers win, you've said it's going to be because of their offense. I've said it's going to be because of their pitching. And so the recipe for the Dodgers isn't necessarily that they need to score 6 or 7 runs. I would like 6 or 7 runs because A, it gives the pitcher way more margin for error and it will help me sleep at night. But there is a world where you get, a starting pitcher that goes deep into a game and allows 1 run. And then it's kind of like get 3 and that'll be enough.
I do think I've said more in general. I think offense wins, but this Dodger pitching staff is very much an outlier where they can carry a poor hitting staff. The concern with that is if you don't get your starting pitchers being an outlier and they only go 5 or 6 innings, then you're relying on the bullpen, and then that outlier advantage you have kind of slips away from them. So, like, that's where I need to see them start hitting more, even with how good their pitching is.
Wait, so we're off offense wins championships and had a good run?
In general, I believe that. But this Dodger pitching staff is historically good, and they can win it for them. I'm still not entirely confident that happens with them giving them like 7 or 8 innings every single game, because that's kind of what they need to do with this offense. But, I mean, in general, I'm still of the belief that a good offense will win a World Series more often than not.
Totally. My point has always been that we're not talking about in general. We're talking about the 2025 Dodgers who have Snell and Glasnow and Ohtani and Yamamoto. And so that's going to be the key. Again, if they can get to 5 or 6 or 7 runs, let's just have both. Let's just have the offense and the pitching at the same time, and none of us have to stress is the goal. Some quick offensive numbers real quick. You mentioned some of the guys who have been performing well. Ohtani, Muncy, Smith are at the top of this list. But Mookie Betts, 51 weighted runs created plus basically since the Red Series. Teoscar, 34 since the Red Series. Kike, 60 since the Red Series. Andy Pages, in case you were curious, do you want to guess what his weighted runs created plus is for the postseason as a whole?
Is it a negative number?
Yes.
-7.
-33. In case you were curious. So I don't even know what you do with that number, because 100 is league average. So he's way worse than league average is the point there. Interestingly enough, Freddie Freeman has actually been better in the last 2 weeks. 126 weighted runs created plus for him over the last couple of weeks. And again, I just think he's due for a big hit, Blake, because he was so close on a couple swings last game. And I just feel like the Freddie Freeman moment has to be coming. Is there anybody on the team for you that you feel like I've said Muncy, I had predicted Muncy to hit a home run in game number 2. He felt like a guy who had some nice swings and just hadn't gotten fully a hold of one. Still didn't, kind of opposite field poke. But Freeman, anybody else that you're like, I think this guy's due?
I mean, I know Shohei is at the top of like the OPS stuff, but he still just hasn't had that big hit for them. So I'm probably going to pick him. A lot of his stats this postseason have come when the games are a little more of a blowout, or Dodgers are leading or behind by a lot. So he hasn't really hit with runners in scoring position, but I expect that to change, and that probably won't last. So I'll go with Shohei.
Okay, there we go. I like it. One guy we mentioned there is Andy Pages, and this has been a recurring question among Dodgers fans, especially of late. Should Andy Pages be benched? Now, it's worth pointing out, Blake, that in his last 1 at-bats, he is literally batting 1,000. So pretty impressive numbers from Pages of late. However, 47 plate appearances in the postseason, 4 hits, no walks, 2 hit by pitch with 1 double, 11 strikeouts. He was in a 4 for 32 stretch heading into the postseason. So in his last 80 plate appearances, he has 1 walk, and 8 hits to go along with 22 strikeouts. The flip side of this, Blake, he did have 3 hard hit balls in game number 2, including the last one, which was a single. I'm not saying he looked a whole lot better. I'm just saying he put 3 balls in play and they all got hit pretty dang hard. He is an asset in center field and defensively in general because of his arm, which is impressive on his part based on how bad it looked at times in the beginning of the season. The flip side, the alternative, is Alex Call. Alex Call hit 255 with a 380 on base and a 345 slug against right-handed pitching this season. In the postseason, he has an impressive stat line, 7 plate appearances. He is 3 for 4 with 2 walks and a hit by pitch. So yes, 6 of 7 times he has reached base. It would move Kike Hernandez to center field, which is probably a downgrade, although I like Kike's defense.
You could play Call in center.
What's that?
You could play Call in center too. He's handled it previously before.
Okay. Do you like Call? Do you think Call in center, Kike in left is a better defensive alignment than Kike in center and Call in left?
Probably. I don't think Kike can really handle center field at a decent level anymore. So I'd probably go with Call out there. He's a little faster and I think he has a better glove.
But do you agree? Let me ask it this way. Do you agree that Pages in center and Kike in left is a better defensive outfield than Call and Kike in whatever formation you want to put them in?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a downgrade defensively if you take Pages out. You increase your on-base percentage potential with Call. Dramatic drop-off when it comes to the slug potential. Call is a better base runner for what it's worth as well. So what would you do in this situation? Should Andy Pages be benched?
I'd probably sit him for a game, try and give him a mental reset. As Dave likes to say, just watch a baseball game for a day, see what Alex Call can do out there. At the worst case scenario, like you're getting quality at bats from Alex Call, which is something we haven't seen from Pages in quite a while. There's just too much chase in his game. He's not working counts enough. He's swinging at pitches he just shouldn't be swinging at. So I wouldn't mind it for a game and then get him back in there and see if that changes anything. But at the same time, as we just talked about with the offense, it's a problem for so many players right now. Like you could make a case Teoscar should be benched and that would just upgrade the defense totally in that case. Or like Mookie hasn't been hitting, and I'm not saying to bench him or anything, but like we just have all these guys that aren't hitting. It's really tough for me to only single out one guy and say like he needs to be replaced type thing. And Pages has probably had the worst at bat quality of all the players, and he's not Mookie Betts, he's not Shohei Ohtani, he's not Will Smith or Max Muncy, but he was a really good player throughout the season. So I don't think you just give up on that over what's still a pretty small sample size. Like if this was happening in July, we're not talking about it, but since it's happening right now, it's a huge issue. So I get it, and I would like to see Call in there for a game, but I wouldn't totally give up on Pages yet.
I mean, it's a 2-month sample size with Pages, which we joked about a 1-month sample size on the last show. It's also worth pointing out Pages is a negative 33 weighted runs created plus in the postseason. So Mookie has been a 51 for the last 2 weeks. So there's a massive gap between those two, even if they're both bad. So I don't know if the sample size argument, and I don't know if, well, a lot of guys have been bad. Those two arguments to me don't seem to hold a ton of water. And I'm not saying I'm anti-keeping him in because I'd probably go there. I would just take my chances and say, if he goes 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts and like there's a chance he hits a home run in the 5th plate appearance, and we saw how important home runs are. That would be the argument to me, is like maybe he runs into one and it's a better defensive alignment. But it's hard for me to look at, again, the last month of the regular season prior to the postseason, he was dreadful as well.
Yes, it has been a sustained struggle for him. We've also seen that happen in the regular season, and then he just suddenly turns it around, which can happen to a lot of players. It happens to pretty much everyone. So the talent is better than the other options they have, which is why I wouldn't totally be out on him. But I just also don't think it would hurt to give him a day off and see what Alex Call can do. And then if it fixes Pages, maybe you give Teo a day off and see what Call can do out there, upgrade the defense for a day, and just kind of go around like that. Like, these games have so much more importance. You can't really wait and just keep betting on sample sizes to turn around or talent to win out. But there is something with Andy Pages there where his defense is really good and he gives you some slug potential if it ever ends up happening. But yeah, bat quality has just been really bad, and he probably needs a day just to mentally reset.
Alex Call, for what it's worth, has 47 total innings in center field over the last 2 seasons. Played a bunch back in 2023 with the Nationals. One person in the chat asked, and I'm curious, would you even consider Justin Dean and say, screw the bat, it's already a 0, let's go get an elite outfielder out there? The problem with that is Pages probably takes somebody else's place defensively, right?
I mean, I'd be all for it. I don't think they would. They haven't even let him take. I think Dean has had 1 at bat since he's been with the Dodgers, and I think that was the only one they let him take. So I would be very surprised if they're suddenly going to say, like, yeah, we're not going to care about the offense anymore at all. But I wouldn't hate it. I mean, he's exciting out there in center.
I did see, I think it was Matty Man in the chat who said, I've finally been convinced on Dean, the defensive replacement. Made a nice play in game number 2 out there. Kike Hernandez, for what it's worth, played 38 innings in center field this year, 54 last year. And as a bunch of people pointed out, was playing some center field in the World Series last year for the Dodgers as well. So your final verdict is, if they asked you for your advice, you'd go Alex Call in center field and Andy Pages on the bench.
Probably. I mean, if you put Kike in center and Call in left, it's not a huge difference for me. I just like the speed a little more in center field. So up in the air on that part of it. But yeah, I would like to see Call start a game just to see. At least you're getting better at bats out there.
Yeah. To me, you could convince me either way. I think the Call argument, it's better at bats, it's more pitches seen, and it's the ability to potentially draw a walk, maybe get some soft contact, versus Pages, who it feels like is like an 80% chance to strike out, and like a 15% chance to pop out and a 5% chance to maybe run into one. So at the same time, in the World Series where home runs are the name of the game, again, you could talk me into Pages and saying, we're just going to hope we get one swing at some point where he accidentally runs into a fastball or gets a hanging slider and knows what to do with it, because he has the ability to turn an entire game in the World Series with the swing, and Alex Call just doesn't. So that's the argument for Pages, but as bad as he's been of late, I'd stick with Pages. That would be my 2 cents, but if it's Call, you won't hear any complaints from me. I think it's a totally defensible situation.
Yeah, too bad they didn't have a left-handed hitting outfielder somewhere.
Who, by the way, pretty good numbers against Max Scherzer in his career. I'm just saying here, Blake. I'm just saying his name may have popped up on the RotoWire versus batter stats, and but neither here nor there, I suppose. Richard says, offensively, it has been low energy. DMV workers can't believe how unproductive Pages has been, and Teo has been colder than my sister-in-law's personality. Richard, I'm afraid to ask what your comp for Andy Pages' offense would be. If the sister-in-law is Teo, I mean, mother-in-law maybe for Pages. I don't know, but we appreciate the super chat and love the DMV joke. That place stinks. Cole, all due respect, by the way, to DMV workers who might be in the chat. Cole says Dodgers stolen bases in playoffs 2024-14, 2025-2. Yeah, we're trying not to dislocate Shohei's shoulder, and he hasn't been on base all that much either. Is there anything to these numbers, Blake, as far as you're concerned?
I mean, they just don't have the team built to run. Like, who's going to be running and who's getting on base enough to run? You're not sending Shohei because, one, he hasn't been on base, like you said. Two, they're not going to risk him running it, being their number 4 pitcher. Mookie isn't much of a base threat anymore. Freddie Freeman's not running. Will Smith's not running. Max Muncy's not running. Tommy Edmonds' ankle is maybe hanging on by a thread. Andy Pages isn't running and he's not getting on base. Did I say Will Smith? Like, he's not running. It's just, they don't really have a team built to run.
Yeah. Jose Ayala says, I'm fired up. Blue Jays fans are disrespecting the Dodgers. I don't know. Most Blue Jays fans that I've seen are picking the Dodgers to win the World Series. So I don't know.
From what I've heard, the fans out in Toronto have been pretty brutal and disrespectful to Dodger fans. So yeah, I've always heard about the Canadian hospitality and friendliness, but that's not what I've been hearing from the reports.
Okay. The plaintiff says, I think in the 9 slot, I'd prefer the best chance to get on base. While I like Pages, he's colder than A-Rod's soul. I'd want to try Alex Call. That's a great comp. Kudos. No notes, plaintiff, on the Alex Rodriguez soul comp for Andy Pages' offense there as well. Okay. Let's talk bullpen, Blake. And I want to talk trust tree. And rather than do this the way we've always done this, I haven't prepped you for it, but it's because I believe in you, Blake. I'm going to give you, I've got 3 scenarios written out, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to map it out for you, who's been used, what's available, who's up, and you're going to tell me what bullpen arm you would go to in this situation. Okay. The first one, it's the 7th inning. The Dodgers are up by 2.
One clarification. Can I use Roki for every one of these situations, or do I actually have to manage it and
you are
pick
welcome
different
to.
people? Okay.
It's the 7th inning. The Dodgers are up by 2 runs. There is 1 out with runners on first and third. Okay. They're up by 2 guys on. You got 8 outs left in the game. Vladimir Guerrero, Kirk, and Varsho are due up. The whole bullpen's available to you. Basically, you tried to stretch Glasnow to the 7th. He got 1 out. He put 2 guys on. Now you're going to the bullpen. There's 8 outs left. Who are you going with?
I mean, my real answer is Roki Sasaki. He should be in every one of. Yeah, he did it already. Game 3 is very vital. He's been in every one of their big moments so far that they've needed a high leverage guy. So if I have to pick someone realistic that Dave would actually do, it's probably Treinen, and I probably agree with that.
Okay.
But again, the options are not great here.
So 3 games in 3 days, you would just say, hey, Roki, go get me 8 outs and we'll figure out the rest later.
Probably.
Not a clean inning, all that kind of stuff.
I think so, because that might be the game right there. And you got to get that out there. The team that wins game 3, when you're in a 1-1 series, goes on to win the series a crazy amount of time. I think it's 80+% or something like that. So game 3 is pivotal. You got to win it. Yeah.
Okay. Scenario number 2. This time it's the 6th inning. It's been a high scoring affair. Glasnow is out. It's 7-4. You're up by 3. It's a clean inning. Jimenez is leading off with the top of the order due up behind him. You've got to get 12 outs. Again, it's Jimenez, then the top of the order, clean inning, up by 3 in the 6th. Who are you going to?
Jimenez is a lefty, right? Not a switch hitter.
Yeah.
And
then you've got Springer and everybody else behind him.
Probably Will Klein.
Okay.
I think I would bet on this stuff playing up. Yeah. I mean, Emmett Sheehan might be there too, just with the clean inning aspect of it, but he looked so bad his last time out and he hasn't pitched much. So I'd probably just lean toward Klein, I think. But again, with every one of these picks I'm taking here, it's I don't have confidence in them to begin with.
Yeah. And it's an interesting spot here because it is a clean inning, which some people criticized the use of Sheehan last time with not being able to get a clean inning, not having maybe adequate time to warm up. To your point, 4 innings is probably a little bit too much to ask of Roki Sasaki, especially once you start seeing the top of the lineup twice. The question is Blake Treinen's usage, because I'm with you. I think he's a guy that gets trusted, but are they just saving him for a crisis moment, or would they go to him in a clean inning knowing that it's the bottom of the order and Vladdy's due up 4th? Do you just go to Treinen here and then deal with the next fire when it comes,
Yeah, I mean, I like Will Klein's stuff enough to trust him. If you get the first out, then you're kind of in a bit of a safer spot there. So I don't know. A lot of people are saying Wroblewski. I wouldn't go to the lefty just because Springer is going to be due up next, and the Blue Jays face lefties fairly well. So yeah, I don't know. It's so difficult. I feel like you could make a case for everyone and not be confident in any of them. So yeah, I mean, if you go to Robo, sure. We haven't even Foxy's asking Dreyer. Yeah, he's available. We haven't seen him in a while, and he wasn't good his last appearance. So I don't know. I'm just betting on the stuff with Will Klein there, I think.
Yeah, it's basically a creative way of asking who do you trust the most out of Treinen, Sheehan, and Will Klein. And it sounds like the answer for you is Will Klein.
Probably.
Okay. Last scenario, 7th inning, 1-run game, clean inning. Barger, Straw, and Jimenez, lefty, righty, lefty, are due up. Who do you bring in?
I'm still going back to Bonda. I mean, that 1 inning was an outlier. Everything was falling apart. He's been really good for the better part of 4 months or something now. He was good in the postseason up until that point. He's their best pitcher versus lefties right now. I think that's an easy one.
And so I guess my question is, do you care about lefties at that point? Given how the lefties, Bonda, to your point, it was a one-off. If we're going to give Sheehan a break, then we probably give Bonda a break as well, because Bonda's the guy who gave up the grand slam. But do you just go to your righties? Because the righties, the 3 guys I just mentioned, Sheehan, Klein, Treinen, in the 7th inning, believing that Roki can probably get you 6 outs, like, would you just go to your better righty and say, screw the lefty stuff?
Probably not. I would just go with, there's 2 lefties coming up. It also probably depends who the Blue Jays have on their bench. Like, is Bo Bichette available? That might change things. If Bo Bichette was available as a pinch hitter, I'd probably go to a righty. You'd probably go to Train in there, maybe Klein or Edgardo. But again, like, it's all kind of pick your poison, it feels like, with this bullpen right now. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a number of outs where your trust in Sasaki to be able to finish the game diminishes greatly? Like, 2 innings to me feels totally reasonable. Once I get past that 2 innings and get to a third, even if it's not a full third, that's where I feel like my knees start to shake a bit.
Depends on how his velocity is looking, if it starts falling off or not. In real time, my gut answer is like maybe 7 or 8 outs.
Okay. Yeah. It's worth pointing out, by the way, that Roki hasn't even been totally lights out. Like, he's gotten the job done in a couple instances. He's been lights out at times, but it is worth pointing out that it's not like he's, peak Evan Phillips back there with a 0 ERA that just is mowing guys down like they have no chance. So it's worth mentioning. So, all right, thanks for playing along with that scenario. Last thing before we get to some questions, let's talk briefly about Game 4, Shohei Ohtani versus Shane Bieber. I mentioned some of these numbers when we looked at Game 3. The Dodgers do not have a lot of success in their clubhouse against Bieber historically. Teoscar 2 for 15, Ohtani 2 for 15, Mookie 1 for 9 in his career. Bieber so far in the postseason, 3 appearances, 12 and a third, 4.38 ERA, 15 strikeouts to just 3 walks, but has given up 2 home runs. And home runs is the issue for Bieber, which, again, if you're a Dodgers fan, is what you want to hear. He allowed 8 this season in 40 innings. That was en route to a 3.57 ERA in 7 starts. Interestingly enough, never pitched less than 5 innings and never pitched more than 6 1/3 innings. So very predictable for the Blue Jays. Of course, on the other hand, you've got Ohtani. Guerrero is 3 for 8 with a home run off him. Springer 7 for 15 with 2 home runs, and Bichette 2 for 5. This is a massive advantage for the Dodgers in Game 4 with Ohtani versus Bieber. But as with any pitcher, if the Dodgers offense decides not to show up, they can make anybody look like an all-star.
Yeah, are we sure this isn't a MLB mid-game concert with Justin Bieber, actually, out there?
We can hope.
Yeah, that concert was ridiculous mid-game. No clue why they did it. I don't think anyone in the world liked it, but on a serious note,
might have. Things seemed to turn around in the 45 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. But on a serious note, it's a huge advantage for the Dodgers. This is a game they'll need to take advantage of if they want to win, because then after that, the Blue Jays are going back to Savage and Gausman, who both gave them trouble. So, yeah, I mean, games 3 and 4 are going to be the most pivotal of this series, unless they go to a game 7, of course. But it's important for them to take advantage. They need to start slugging, as we've talked about earlier. We need to see it. The offense, it's your time. Dave Roberts said he expects them to be better. I mean, if it's that easy, he should have called that play earlier in the series. But, hey, I mean, maybe they have something. Maybe they have some game planning. They have more looks at these guys. It's not like Trey Savage coming out of nowhere type thing where they've never seen him before. So hopefully they come through. The team has enough talent to do it. They need to do it. It's time.
Yeah. For what it's worth, the Savage, I don't think was very good. 4 innings, 7 base runners allowed. They only get 2 earned runs off of him, but he only lasted 4. And realistically, if the Dodgers aren't 0 for a million with runners in scoring position, then maybe it gets a little worse. Gausman, I'm with you. 17 straight retired at some point. So it feels like they're going to need a better approach to him. Savage, it just seemed like just get the big hit instead of striking out and grounding into double plays when the moment needs it. So, okay, let's get to some questions, folks. All caps questions in the chat. We will answer as many of those as we possibly can. As we're waiting for that, Blake, just out of curiosity, what do you got for a prediction for game number 3? Do you think the Dodgers take this one with Glasnow on the mound and Scherzer on the opposite side?
Yes. I think they win 5-3.
Okay. I think I said, I'm the worst at remembering. I think I said 6 or 7. So I've got the Dodgers scoring some runs tomorrow. That's my prediction. Aaron wants to go a step further. Do you think Game 5 will be a clinch game for the Dodgers? Do you think they'll have a chance to clinch in Game 5? Let's start there, Blake.
Potentially. I mean, it's hard to predict these things. I think the Blue Jays take 1 at Dodger Stadium. I don't know which game that's going to be, but I would have the Dodgers going 2-1 against them in these 3 games and then going back to Toronto. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just don't know the order.
Okay. I think the Dodgers will have a chance to clinch going into Game 5. Whether or not they do remains to be seen. Okay, some more questions here. This one's for you. Eric says, how do we evaluate Smith as a defensive catcher after last night's game calling with Yoshi? I feel like he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. I promise I did not plant this question, Blake. It was the first one on the list.
It's a very complex topic. I think in general, as fans, we don't get to see the pitch calling data that the Dodgers have. From what I've heard, it's not very favorable to Will Smith. There's also the fact that a lot of the Dodgers pitchers, their starters at least, do end up calling their own pitches sometimes. And when we talk about that, it's not like they're calling their entire game, but a lot of times they'll overrule Smith on those things. So it's hard to say how much credit just from the eye test that like Smith should get for this stuff. I think his framing is really bad though, and that hurts him as a defensive catcher. He's good at throwing out base runners, which really hasn't been a huge factor throughout the postseason so far. So he's not a good catcher, in my opinion, defensively, but his bat is a top 25 bat in baseball, and that's why he's going to keep playing. I would hope at one point in his career they move him off catcher and let someone else go there, as teams have done in the past, like Joe Mauer and Buster Posey and other top offensive catchers, because it'll help keep them healthier for the long part of their career. But it's a complex topic without knowing like who exactly is calling the pitches in each scenario.
I guess my question to you, though, is it didn't seem all that complicated when we were all on the Benny Rowe train.
He was fully calling his own pitches after like the first week or so of him, when pitchers started to get more trust in him. It was fully on Benny Rowe.
And that's sourced information you're saying, because you're saying on one hand, we can't tell from watching the TV, but know that.
The pitchers have also said that, and yes, it's sourced info.
Okay. There you go. Arun says, do you do watch parties on Playback Go Dodgers? We have tried them in the past. Playback, it's just really complicated. So the answer is we're not doing them right now. Maybe someday we will, but it doesn't make a ton of sense the way things are currently set up on that end. Lakers Nation, our friends over there do. I'm sure there's a watch party going on right now for the Lakers game, actually. TQT says, I appreciate Blake calling out Shohei, Betts, and Freddie for underperforming. Do you think any of them busts out soon, Blake?
Probably. Like, you got to bet on the talent, but
we need more than probably. Give us a prediction here.
See, that's what I was talking about on the last show, is on like how many times can we keep saying yes, it's going to come through, and then it doesn't actually end up coming through. So yes, one of them, I'll say yes. It's a 1 in 33% chance for each of them. So I mean, yeah, I'll pick one of them just because the odds would be in my favor with one of them coming through, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully.
That's what people tune in for. Probably, I don't know. We'll see.
I gave a yes, but like, it's just going back to
Freddie Freeman busts out soon. That's the answer. Shohei 2. Shohei gets a home run. Freddie 2 hits. Game 3.
I'll pick Shohei.
There you go. Pete says Glasnow not historically good against the Blue Jays, but as a Dodger, he struck out 17. How many strikeouts for Glasnow tomorrow? By the way, that not historically good against the Blue Jays, as I said earlier, like those numbers are dated back to 2018 and 2019 with Blue Jays teams that had none of the current Blue Jays players. So keep that in mind. But how many strikeouts for Glasnow?
7, and it's not as much about swing and miss. It's more about he's not going to go deeper into the game because the Blue Jays work the counts, and he's going to be in the zone a lot. So a lot of foul balls, deep counts, stuff like that. Yeah.
Ren 1818 says, how many innings you got for Glasnow tomorrow?
Somewhere between 5 and 6. So it could be like 5-1, 5-2, 6.
Okay.
That's yeah. I mean, I hope he goes 7 or 8, but we'll see.
Yeah, give me 6 for Glasnow. And 8 strikeouts, by the way, is my prediction. I think he's had 8 strikeouts in both postseason starts so far. So let's just keep that train going. Bums in Blue 52 with the super chat. How many runs required to bring in Kershaw, Blake?
Probably depends on the game. Like, but in general, I want to say like 5 either way, plus or minus.
I think it's more for me. They got a lot of rested arms out there. And if it's a 5-run lead, I don't think Kershaw is going to be the guy coming out of the pen.
If it's an inning with lefties coming up, Dave said he wants to get Kershaw into a postseason game. I think 5 he could justify.
Give me 7. It's going to be my answer.
I'm not mad at that.
So
you're saying I'm higher on Kershaw than you?
I don't think you're higher on Kershaw than me. I think you think they're going to put him in at 5. And the question, as far as I'm concerned, is how many runs up to bring in Kershaw? If they're asking me, 7 would be my answer. Said, I asked this last night. The fact that Kershaw did not come into game 1, my question to Daniel and Anthony was, is it possible that the Dodgers are way higher on Kershaw than any of us are? Because if Kershaw is there to mop up and you're down 11-4, and Klein and Robleski are the guys coming in. Now, the argument against it was, hey, maybe you just want to see how those two guys look in a World Series game. You want to dip their toes in the water. But I just wonder if Kershaw is higher on the trust tree than both of those guys.
It crossed my mind. I think Anthony said the same thing when it happened. But I do come to, I think it was just about wanting to see Klein and Robleski in a game more than anything else. If it was at home, I think that might have changed things because Dave would probably rather get Kershaw into the game at home than on the road, so fans can kind of appreciate him a little bit. But yeah, I think it was just about wanting to see the younger guys.
Asks, is Yamamoto a better pitcher than Skubal in the playoffs? Noting what both pitchers did this year and last. If you needed to win a playoff game and you could start Yamamoto or Skubal, Blake, who are you starting?
Taking Yamamoto. Okay. I don't think that means he's a better pitcher in general. I mean, I think he's a better pitcher, like I talked about earlier, pure pitcher sense, but Skubal has better stuff, and he's a really good pitcher too. So, yeah, I mean, what Yamamoto's done has been incredible. He was the guy that carried the starting pitching through the playoffs last year. He now seems to be doing it again this year. I mean, it's hard to argue against him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Dodgers have won 6 of his last 7 starts, which obviously has something to do with what the Dodgers are doing on the opposite side of the ball offensively. But what I say, a 1.6 ERA in his last 7 postseason starts. That's not messing around.
But to be fair, like, you can't go wrong with either of those guys.
Yeah, agreed. Court asks, when do the Blue Jays push the panic button? Is it game 3 or game 4, Blake?
Hopefully game 4. I mean, yeah.
Hopefully game 3. Let's just start making panic moves early in game 3.
I don't think they'd panic in game 3. I think game 4 would be the earliest they start to panic if they're down in that one and they already lost game 3 type thing. Like, yeah, I don't think they're going to panic in game 3.
Vinny asks, between Glasnow and Shohei, who pitches a better game?
Shohei.
Okay. I agree. Jimmy asks, game 6, Dodgers up 3-2. Yamamoto is dealing. I hope it doesn't get to game 6. Up 3-2 in the series. Yamamoto's dealing. Dodgers are up 5-1. Do they let Yamamoto finish a complete game, or do they bring in Kershaw to close it out? I've said before, it needs to be 8-1. Give me Clayton Kershaw, baby, for the last 3 outs. Yamamoto, we appreciate your service. 3 complete games in a row would be cool. But if Kershaw can close out a World Series, it will be the greatest sports moment of my life, and nothing will ever top it, Blake. So I need more than 4 runs. 4 runs, I'm not touching Yamamoto, though.
Yeah, didn't Kershaw allow 5 his last time out?
That was the heroic wear it for the team, and they win game 4 because of him, Blake. Let's not let history rewrite that, okay?
I'm just saying, like, in general, I think you probably want to see more.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they do that. Maybe if it's at home, like I said, Dave would try that, but I don't know. Dave also said he's not going to play around with that stuff. He just wants to win the series. So, yeah, I wouldn't.
That's why I've said 10-1. We need 10-1. Perfectly out of reach. Blue Jays congratulating Dodger fielders on the base paths. That's what I need in my life. Back-to-back, if you were buying tickets to one World Series game, which would you buy? You have no idea what happens ahead of you.
Game 5, because it's guaranteed, and that would be the one as of right now that either team would have a chance to clinch. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy that had to pick before the series. He picked game 4 because he wanted to see Ohtani, and to your point, nothing was guaranteed beyond it. So 5 is probably the pick because there's a chance you could see the Dodgers clinch it at Dodger Stadium. So it's hard to argue with that one. Jackie Bliss says, how many starters pitchers will be in game 5? I don't know why.
I mean, that
That's a
would
long way
be
away. We haven't even played game 3 yet.
that would be Snell's game. So I'm gonna say 3 for the Dodgers and like 4 or 5 for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I was going to 3 sounds like a good number to me. Norm asks, if the game is tied after 6 and the starters are out, which offense are you more confident in exploiting the other team's bullpen?
The Blue Jays right now, which is my main concern with the Dodgers for this series.
Does it matter at all to you that the Dodgers have already seen more of the Blue Jays bullpen?
In general, it probably would, but this Dodgers bullpen, like we just talked about it's pick your poison with whoever you bring out, it feels like right now, so I'm not sure it makes a huge difference. And the Blue Jays offense has erupted a lot this postseason, while the Dodgers offense hasn't, so just kind of vibes based here. I trust the Blue Jays a bit more against the Dodger pitching.
Okay, vibes. If we're going vibes based, give me the Dodgers, baby. Give me Shohei, Freddie, Mookie, Smith, Teo, and Muncy, please. Paul asks, do you think Call or Kim plays at all in this series? We just said Call might start game 3. So
I still think I'd have more confidence Kim ends up playing just because he'll probably be in as a pinch runner, but I don't think Kim has a chance to start, where Call does have a chance to start. So
it's interesting to think about which guys they would actually pinch run for as well in that situation. Like, obviously, it's not going to be Ohtani, Mookie, or Freddie. I don't think they would pinch run for Will Smith. I don't think they would pinch run for maybe Max Muncy. The way he's hitting, it feels like no. But like Teo, I think they'd pinch run for. Kike, he's already pretty quick, so you're probably not pinch running for him. Like, is it just Teo and Pages, basically? Tommy Edman, I guess that's an easy one. Teo, Pages, and Edman would be the only 3 guys.
I think you could make the case for Smith if he's the runner on second and it's late in the game and that's the winning run. You upgrade the defense and you get the pinch runner. I mean, I think any of them could be pinch run for if the situation calls for it. If it's the winning run on third and you need to score it or something, or second, like,
yeah,
I would like to see some aggressiveness there. I mean, yeah, you need to score any way possible sometimes.
But so your answer to this question would be Call or Kim?
Kim playing. I think Kim has a better chance to play. I think Call has a better chance to start.
I'm going to say Call just because I think he's going to start one of the next 3 games. So Thomas says, do you guys really think Dave will make a change in bench Pages? Just feels like he says stuff to please fans and give media a little nugget to talk about. I absolutely think Dave is considering making a change with Pages. Whether or not he pulls the trigger on it remains to be seen. But I don't think this is just like a for show media quote.
Yeah, there's the mental aspect of it he has to consider with Pages. Like, if he says that just to tell the media that, like, I think that's probably in the back of his mind and maybe puts a little stress on him. So it's probably something where he is really considering it. I don't think he'd lie about that kind of thing.
GI said, after game 4, should Ohtani be a viable option out of the pen in certain situations? My answer to this is not in game 5, but then you've got game 5, then you have an off day, and then we're talking 6 and 7. Absolutely, to me, Ohtani should be available to pitch in game 6 or 7 if needed.
I think he'd be available in game 7. I don't think he'd be available any sooner than that.
Okay. Dong asks, is Kike the unseen hero for Yoshi's dominance? The quote from The Athletic between Kike and Yoshi after he got rocked by the Padres in 2024. If you have not read this story, I believe it was Fabian Ardaya's article. They have like 5 or 6 that I read, so apologies if it was somebody else. But basically, Kike sat him down after he gave up, got knocked out of the game in the 3rd inning against the Padres and said, hey, instead of adjusting, you just do you, because you're really freaking good. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, and your best is good enough. And so just do what you're comfortable with. And basically he's been nails ever since that. So what do you make of that interaction?
I mean, it shows some leadership from Kike. I don't want to give him the credit. Like, Yamamoto's still been really good. I think Mark Pryor and the pitching staff planning it have been good. I think there's a lot of factors here. And I think Yoshi is just like really good. So yeah, nice story, nice quote. I don't think that's like the reason or the unsung hero type thing. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but
okay. Let's see a couple more here. Michael asks, gut feeling, player or players of the game tomorrow for you, Blake?
Max Muncy, 2-homer game. Let's go.
There you go. Muncy was my sleeper pick for World Series MVP. He was 8-1 for those who were curious.
There's my bold prediction.
What's that?
My hot take bold prediction there.
I like it. That wasn't a probably. That wasn't a maybe. That wasn't a we're playing the odds. I like that out of you, Blake. Give me Freddie Freeman, player of the game, although I do like Muncy as well. Miguel says, have you seen the Blue Jays home and away OPS? It's beyond league average and seems kind of sus. What are your thoughts? I was just looking up the weighted runs created plus. I mean, they're 105 on the road, which is 6th best in Major League Baseball. So there you go.
Yeah, I think most players are better at home than they are on the road. I think if you look at Andy Paz's home and road splits, it's probably even more dramatic than that. So, like, I'm not going to say it's cheating or anything, even though they do have George Springer. Yeah, I think it's just kind of randomness and most teams being better at home.
Yeah, they're 120 at home. For what it's worth, the Dodgers are 102 on the road and 125 at home. So it's basically the same thing. But again, Dodgers are going to be home for the next 3. So good news there. All right, let's see if we've got any more questions. Noisy Ninja, have you seen the Reddit stuff saying it looked like Springer had an Apple Watch shape under his sleeve after getting hit? I have not seen it.
It was probably the Whoop bands. I think pretty much most players are wearing, where it tracks like heart rate data and oxygen and all that kind of stuff. I mean, pretty much every player in baseball is wearing them at some point, even if they're not doing it during the game. They're wearing it outside of the game. Some of them do end up wearing it during the game. Yeah, I don't think there's anything into that. It's probably just that band.
Yeah, there you go. I love that that's something happening on Reddit. That is just the perfect Reddit storyline if I've ever seen one. Back to back. Is it safe to say Yamamoto has surpassed Kershaw in postseason performance? Sorry, Jeff. Yes, this is a very, very easy yes. I said last night, the question for me is, has he surpassed Walker Buehler's postseason performance? And I think the answer to that question is yes as well. He probably doesn't have, like, Buehler closed out a World Series, which is sort of a more picturesque moment that you'll remember in your mind, but complete game in the CS and a complete game in the World Series. Since Hershiser, I don't know how you could make a case there's been a better postseason pitcher for the Dodgers than Yamamoto, Blake.
Yeah, probably not. He's been completely dominant. He's been the backbone of them reaching the World Series twice and winning it once already and maybe another time. So, yeah, no one else can match that.
Norm says you have to pick one. Scherzer goes 6 or Mookie hits a home run. Which one's more likely?
Scherzer going 6.
Oh, come on. Mookie hitting the home run, baby. Mookie magic.
We just talked about his 50 weighted runs created plus over the postseason.
Yeah, Scherzer had like a 12 ERA in the month of September.
I mean, yeah, but it's also the Dodger offense we've been talking about, where they, even if they do wake up, it never seems to be until the 6th inning or the 7th inning. So I know it's not going to be a popular take, but
it's all right. It's all right. It's an expected take from you, Blake. So that's, you're just being yourself.
I mean, we'll reassess tomorrow when Scherzer has his 6 innings of 2-run ball and we're all complaining. And then, yeah.
There you go. Blake is predicting 6 innings of 2-run ball from Max Scherzer that Mookie Betts will not hit a home run. So there we go.
Somewhat in jest, but yeah.
What's that?
Somewhat jokingly, but yeah.
When you say somewhat, give me a percentage of joking we've got there.
40%.
Okay, so there we go. Like, I'm wondering if you're going to take a victory lap if Scherzer goes 6 innings, 2 earned runs tomorrow.
No, because I've been down on the Dodgers offense like the entire postseason so far. So I just need to see them have a big inning and knock a pitcher out of the game. They haven't done it yet.
But you're still picking the Dodgers to win the World Series. It sounded like after game 1 you were hedging your bets.
I've said Dodgers in 6 and I haven't changed from it. I've also said the Blue Jays are a very good team. So, like, anything can happen in the postseason. That's what I've tried to stress. But I still think the Dodgers win it just based on the talent.
There you go. I like that. Blake picking the Dodgers to win the World Series. You all heard it here. Not for the first time, for the 3rd or 4th time. So, folks, we appreciate you joining us on an off night on a Sunday. We will be back tomorrow. It will be myself and Anthony Witrato. I believe Greg Bergman from ESPN LA will be joining us as well for a Game 3 post-game show. As always, right here on the YouTube channel, we will have tons of content pre and post-game. Scott Gearman will be live at noon tomorrow because it is a game day. Is that right, Blake?
Yep.
Okay, so right here, live at noon tomorrow, you can go ahead and check that out. As always, DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media. If you're a podcast person, Apple, Spotify, and Google, go ahead, subscribe, rate, and review. there. And of course, the Dodger Blue app, all of these things in one place. Go ahead and check it out. That is Blake Williams. I am Jeff Spiegel, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night. As always, go Dodgers. And yes, still champs.